The first thing you notice about Jupiter is its beauty. A massive swirling sphere painted in bands of gold, amber, and ivory, drifting silently in the darkness. From a distance, it looks calm, almost regal, like a perfect masterpiece hanging in space. For centuries, it has been called the king of planets, a symbol of order, strength, and quiet power. But that image is a lie, a beautiful illusion hiding something far more dangerous. Beneath those colorful clouds, Jupiter is not calm. It is restless, unstable, and constantly in motion, like a storm that never ends. The planet spins so fast that a single day lasts less than 10 hours, forcing its atmosphere to stretch and twist into endless bands. What looks smooth from afar is actually a violent ocean of gas, where winds collide, rise, and collapse. Without warning, even the colors are deceptive. Those soft shades are signs of chemical reactions, of heat and energy churning beneath the surface. And then there is the scale. Jupiter is so large that more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside it. Yet its true nature cannot be understood by size alone. It is not just big, it is extreme. Every layer, every movement, every shift is amplified beyond anything we know. Scientists once believed Jupiter was simply a giant ball of gas, a quiet observer in the outer solar system. But the more we looked, the more unsettling it became. Strange patterns appeared in its clouds. Storms refused to die. Energy seemed to come from nowhere, building and rebuilding itself endlessly. It became clear that Jupiter was not peaceful. It was alive in a way no planet should be. A place where balance does not exist, where calm is only a brief illusion before chaos returns. And this raises a disturbing question. If Jupiter looks this beautiful from millions of kilometers away, what is really happening inside those clouds? What kind of world hides beneath that perfect exterior? The truth is far darker than it appears, because Jupiter is not just a planet. It is a system of unstoppable forces, a place where nature is pushed to its absolute limits, and we are only beginning to understand its true nature. On Earth, storms come and go. They build, they rage, and eventually they fade. But on Jupiter, storms never die. They are born into chaos and remain there, locked in an endless cycle of violence that has no beginning and no end. This is not weather. This is a permanent state of war in the sky. The most famous of these storms is the Great Red Spot, a colossal vortex that has been raging for more than 3 centuries. It is so large that Earth itself could disappear inside it, swallowed whole by its spinning walls. Winds inside this storm reach speeds of over 400 miles per hour, tearing through clouds with unstoppable force. And yet, despite its age and power, it is only one storm among thousands. Across Jupiter's surface, massive bands of clouds collide and shear against each other. These bands move in opposite directions, creating violent friction zones where energy builds and explodes outward. Towering storm systems rise like mountains, only to collapse and reform again. Lightning flashes deep within the clouds, far stronger than anything seen on Earth, illuminating a world that never truly rests. What makes this even more terrifying is the scale. A single storm on Jupiter can dwarf entire continents. The turbulence is so vast that it reshapes the planet's atmosphere continuously, carving patterns that shift over time but never disappear. There is no stable ground, no calm region, no safe place where the chaos ends. Everywhere you look, something is moving, colliding, or tearing itself apart. But perhaps the most unsettling part is that these storms are not driven by sunlight alone. Jupiter generates its own internal heat, feeding its atmosphere with energy from within. This means the storms are not just surface phenomena. They are powered from deep inside the planet, making them stronger, more unpredictable, and impossible to stop. Imagine standing inside that world, surrounded by winds that never slow, beneath skies that never clear. There would be no silence, no stillness, only the constant roar of motion and destruction. A place where calm is not just rare, but impossible. And yet, this is only the beginning of Jupiter's violence. Because beyond the storms, beyond the endless chaos of its atmosphere, lies a force even more dangerous. A force that does not just shape the planet, but everything around it. Jupiter does not need storms to be dangerous. Its greatest power is invisible. You cannot see it, you cannot hear it, but it is always there, reaching out into space with relentless force. Jupiter's gravity is so immense that it does not simply hold the planet together. It turns the space around it into a battlefield. Anything that drifts too close is no longer free. Asteroids, comets, fragments of rock and ice wandering through the solar system are silently pulled toward Jupiter, their paths bending long before they realize what is happening. What begins as a distant influence quickly becomes a trap. There is a point where escape is no longer possible, where the object is no longer traveling through space, but falling. This is not a gentle pull. As objects accelerate toward Jupiter, they are stretched and stressed by tidal forces. Gravity does not act evenly. The side closer to the planet is pulled harder than the side farther away, creating a tearing effect. Solid rock begins to fracture. Ice cracks apart. Entire celestial bodies can be ripped into long chains of debris before they even reach the atmosphere. We have seen this happen. In 1994, a comet known as Shoemaker, Levy 9, was captured by Jupiter's gravity and torn into pieces. Those fragments slammed into the planet one after another, releasing energy equivalent to millions of nuclear explosions. Dark scars spread across Jupiter's clouds, visible even from Earth. It was not just an impact, it was a demonstration. Jupiter does this constantly. It acts like a cosmic vacuum, pulling in debris that might otherwise travel deeper into the solar system. In one sense, it protects planets like Earth from catastrophic impacts. But that protection comes with violence. Jupiter does not gently remove threats. It destroys them completely. Even its moons are not entirely safe. Jupiter's gravity grips them tightly, stretching and compressing them as they orbit. This constant flexing generates heat deep inside their cores, warping their surfaces and driving strange geological activity. It is a reminder that nothing near Jupiter exists without feeling its influence. This is what makes Jupiter different. Its gravity is not just a force, it is a weapon. It shapes trajectories, shatters worlds, and controls everything within its reach. And if something crosses the wrong boundary, there is no negotiation, no second chance, only the inevitable pull inward towards something far worse, waiting below. On Earth, no matter how violent a storm becomes, there is always ground beneath your feet, a place to stand, a place to survive. But on Jupiter, that idea simply does not exist. There is no surface, no solid land, no boundary between sky and ground. Only a vast, endless descent into something unknown. At first, the clouds seem almost familiar, soft layered bands stretching across the horizon, glowing faintly in distant light. But the deeper you go, the more the illusion begins to break. The air thickens. The light fades. Colors darken into shades of rust and shadow. What once looked calm from space becomes suffocating from within. The pressure begins to rise, slowly at first, then relentlessly. Every kilometer downward adds weight, compressing everything tighter and tighter. The gas around you stops behaving like air and starts acting like a crushing ocean. Breathing becomes impossible. Movement becomes difficult. The very concept of falling loses meaning as you are swallowed by density itself. And then comes the heat. Jupiter does not rely only on the Sunday. It generates its own energy from deep within, pushing warmth outward through its layers. As you descend, temperatures climb higher and higher, turning the surrounding atmosphere into a furnace. It is not a sudden burn. It is a gradual, inescapable rise, a slow transition from survival to destruction. Lightning flashes through the darkness, far more powerful than anything on Earth. Thunder rolls endlessly through the dense atmosphere, echoing in ways that never truly fade. You are no longer in a sky. You are inside a system of pressure, heat, and motion that does not care whether you exist or not. Deeper still, the hydrogen itself begins to change. Under extreme pressure, it transforms into something no human has ever experienced directly. A metallic ocean, conductive and alien, where electricity flows like currents through a liquid world. This is not just a planet anymore. It is something entirely different, something that defies normal understanding. And there is no escape. There is no point where you can stop, no solid ground to reach, no moment where the descent ends. Only increasing pressure, rising heat, and the slow realization that Jupiter does not allow anything to return once it has been claimed. What began as curiosity turns into dread. What seemed like a journey becomes a one-way path into a place where the laws of comfort and survival no longer apply. And yet, even this is not the full extent of Jupiter's power, because its influence stretches far beyond itself, shaping everything that dares to orbit nearby. Jupiter is not just another planet drifting in the outer darkness. It is a force that shapes the entire solar system, whether we notice it or not. Its size alone is overwhelming, containing more mass than all the other planets combined. But its true power lies in how it influences everything around it, bending paths, redirecting chaos, and quietly deciding what survives and what doesn't. Every asteroid that passes through the solar system feels Jupiter's presence. Its gravity reaches out like an invisible net, pulling wandering objects toward it or flinging them into deep space. Entire trajectories are rewritten because of this single planet. What looks like empty space is actually a region under constant control, where nothing moves without Jupiter having a say. This control has consequences. Jupiter acts as a shield, intercepting comets and debris that might otherwise collide with inner planets like Earth. Many of the impacts that could have ended life before it even began were likely swallowed by this giant. In that sense, Jupiter is a guardian, standing at the edge of the inner solar system, taking the hits that others never see. But that protection is not kindness. It is a byproduct of something far more violent. Jupiter does not choose what to save. It simply destroys whatever crosses its path. The same force that protects Earth is the force that obliterates everything else. Countless worlds, fragments, and icy bodies have been pulled in, broken apart, and erased without a trace. Its moons tell the story of this power. Dozens of them, each trapped in an endless dance around their master. Some are scorched by radiation, others stretched and heated by gravitational forces that never let them rest. Even in orbit, nothing escapes the pressure of Jupiter's control. It is a system built on dominance, where every object exists under constant influence. And yet, without this violence, the solar system we know might not exist. Without Jupiter clearing paths and absorbing impacts, Earth could have faced relentless bombardment, never allowing life to take hold. The same destructive force that tears worlds apart may have quietly created the conditions for our existence. That is the unsettling truth. Jupiter is both protector and executioner, a planet that gives and takes without intention. It does not care about balance or survival. It simply exists, operating on forces so large and so indifferent that human ideas of purpose do not apply. So when we look at Jupiter through a telescope, seeing its glowing bands and swirling patterns, it is easy to feel awe. It is easy to admire its beauty. But that beauty hides something deeper, a system of power, violence, and control that has shaped everything we know. Jupiter is not just the largest planet in the solar system. It is the reason the solar system looks the way it does today. A silent architect of chaos and order, standing far away yet influencing everything. And perhaps the most unsettling thought is this: the very thing that makes Jupiter so dangerous is the same thing that may have allowed us to exist at all. Because somewhere in its endless destruction, Jupiter made space for life.